Was it hard to date after the divorce?
Um, I'll say no because once I decided I'm in a different active life and I have to be open. And also, I think there was a part of me was rebellious too towards God. It was like, I did everything that I could do to the best of my ability. And I can't say I did everything perfect, but I can look myself in the mirror and say at that time, I definitely did everything to the best of my ability. And if this is the result, then a part of me felt like, well, what's the point of trying to do everything right? I'm just going to look, Lord, I need you to just sustain me because you know. So part of it wasn't hard for that reason. And then ultimately it wasn't hard because I was like, you do know, and you really do know me, and you know I'm trying to navigate this and figure this out, and so I'm going to trust you. And when you bring something, and I'm not looking for anything, but whenever you do, I'm going to trust whatever you tell me and the way that you share it with me. And so, even when the person that I love came and there were so many different things going on, I've had a peace through it all.
Yeah.
And not only have I had a peace, I've actually had a joy. Like, I'm just very, very happy and love this person so much. And this person has made me so much better. The only thing that's been painful is seeing him go through what he goes through, because that hurts me to see him hurt when I know him the way that I know him and when I know what I know. But ultimately, we all have our journeys and we all go through things, and they're all different for everybody that are not, that people are not going to understand, and people are going to think that they know, or we're not going to understand, and we're going to have to navigate, and we have to trust God that we're going to come out of the other side of that better with a testimony. Yeah. And helping other people just by existing and living and surviving and thriving after.
Yeah, it was so public, and you could say no, but it was so open that we seen you grow right before our eyes. We seen you go through what you went through, and then to go through what you went through again, and then humanly, it's like you see the blogs, you see this, you see that.
Yeah.
How did it happen? Like you see it, but from my perspective, it's like, how? You see that, then you see this, and then like it happened, and then when you see it, I saw you guys at the Hollywood Unlocked.
Yeah.
And I looked at it from afar. I was like, no, like this is some real and powerful shit. Cause how?
I can't even say how. Like I said, I wasn't looking for anything. And even, I can't even say even, just in everything.
Yeah.
I have grown so much. Mm-hmm. And part of that growth is really just been a God thing and a trust in God thing. And my prayer a few years prior was like, in this journey as I go along and I am following you, Lord, and trying to navigate and figure out what you want me to do and how you want me to do it, I need you to relieve me from the pain of considering how other people feel. Because even though I have perspective in my head that says, well, this doesn't matter if they're talking this way about this person or that person, you're in good company. I understand all that logically, but my heart hurts. Mm-hmm. And I need you to deliver me from that feeling because it hurts too much. Mm-hmm. And I went through a season where people thought that I was bleaching my skin. I had went to this esthetician that I ultimately found out was unlicensed, and she messed up my skin bad. And it took 3 years for me to get this much color back. And it was mortifying. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. It was just like, growing up where I grew up and constantly dealing with racism and being told certain things about my skin or being browner than my sister or my mom or whatever it is. For me to live in my skin so like confidently and to get to that space was like something that I was like, and then young girls saying like, you're one of the first young Black girls I ever saw on TV. To feel like someone stripped that away from me was so painful. and so embarrassing and so horrible. And it was right before COVID happened. And as I was sitting there, I realized I can't get on social media and I can't say like, yo, I did not do this because I look crazy. So I have to just sit in it. I have to accept that people are going to think that for some reason I didn't love myself. And all of a sudden at 38 years old, I decided I wanted to look different or change my skin or whatever it is. And that hurts because it's not just the folks who want to say something or were waiting to say something. It's also like the little babies and young girls who are being fed this commentary that this is not the way I want to represent myself. Like it was tough. And so I was sitting there praying and I was crying, and it was another one of those moments where I was like, Lord, you knew this was going to happen to me at 38. Like, why? Like, and then this peace came over me, and the settling, and I realized that it was an answered prayer. Because I had to sit in it, and because I could not defend myself, and because there was nothing I could do about it, and because there was no guarantee that my skin was going to even correct itself, I had to accept that people are going to think what they're going to think. Okay. And those who want to give me the benefit of the doubt are going to give me the benefit of the doubt because that's who they are. Yeah. And those who don't want to give me the benefit of the doubt don't want to give me the benefit of the doubt. In some cases, we're waiting for it, and that's who they are. Mm-hmm. And anybody who can switch on you quickly was never what that was anyways. And so in accepting that, I almost had to like start laughing through the tears. And I was like, oh Lord, this is an answered prayer, but why I gotta be like this? And then it was like, because it had to be like this in order for me to really, really let go. In order for me to, I always say I've often felt for many years that I was like standing at the edge of this cliff and like people are poking and prodding and judging and deciding and telling me things about myself that I know aren't true. And I just was like trying not to fall off the cliff. Yeah. And with this, I just turned around and jumped. I said, you're not going to push me. And as soon as I jumped, I started flying. And as soon as I started flying, I started soaring. So for me, even though it was a horrible experience, it delivered me and it prepared me to go through a divorce publicly. Yeah. It prepared me to walk alongside my future husband with my head held high, knowing that I know who he is. It prepared me for everything that may or may not come whenever it comes. And so sometimes I'll be praying, I'll be like, Lord, I need you to deliver me from this, but please don't hurt me. Like, but I know he's not, because his plan is always to prosper me. Even if something hurts in a moment, that's not the bottom line. That's only the gateway to where I'm going and where I've gotten on the other side of that. It was worth it. All of it has been worth it. So.
You in your bag right now, just letting you know.
Thank you.
You definitely there. And just for the viewer, could you give people game, right, who have went through divorce and the shame or the ridicule of that? Because whether you're in the public eye or not, we all come from something, and it's like, this is the standard, this is the way it's gonna be, but your journey is different. How can you really counsel a person who's been through that and say, hey, you can find love again?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like for the masses to hear and be empowered by?
I think it looks like you have to know that you deserve it. But first of all, you deserve you, and you are lovable. And however the journey shapes up and whatever it is, you deserve whatever it is that your heart truly, truly desires. And God wants that for you in most cases, unless it's something that's not good for you, that's going to hurt you. But anything that is good for you, that you truly want, most of the time God wants that for you. And you just have to be willing to just keep trying and keep going for it, because you will regret not trying, but you won't regret if you try and you succeed and you're on an incredible journey. And even then, like, you don't know what journey is going to be what, but you deserve to be happy, and you deserve to be full, and you deserve to know that you are lovable, and that somebody will be on the journey with you that maybe even loves you more, and maybe even loves a full version of you, and maybe that's part of the journey. But whatever it is, You just got to get there, and you just got to walk it out, and you just got to never give up. And you just got to have as much as you can, not a toxic positive attitude, but a positive attitude of like knowing like God wants the best for me. Mm-hmm. And even if I don't deserve it, I deserve it because God says so. Period. So let me just keep walking it out and keep living everything that life has to give me to the fullest capacity, because when it's all said and done, and it will be one day for each one of us, you want to have used it up. And you don't want to feel like you sat there and unless it's a healing process and something you need to sit there for, you don't want to feel like you sat there and wasted time dwelling on things that are not important. They're just a part of the process, and they're important to acknowledge and to grow from and to heal from. But it's not important to stay somewhere that doesn't serve your fullest quality of life and your highest good and what you want and what God wants for you.
Do you want to have kids?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like, do you feel the pressure?
I think I did before.
Okay.
And I don't respond well to pressure. Anyone who knows me knows if you push me, then I probably am not going to move. But I think that before, it was like this idea of if you're a woman, then you should want to have kids. And if you don't want to have kids, then what's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. And I think that I had to relieve myself from the idea that, because I knew that there was nothing wrong with me, but I had to relieve myself from the idea that people are going to think something's wrong with me, so that I could actually investigate, okay, what is your concern? What is your fear? What are your thoughts? What are your things? This is that. And yeah, at this junction, I feel like I've done everything I want to do, and everything else that I want to do, I feel like I would do it better as a mom. And also, yeah, and this is not a comparison to my last marriage, but at all. This is more the season that I'm in right now with the person that I'm in it with. We just have so much fun together, and I just want to raise kids with him, and I just want to do life in a very specific way that I know that we can because of our personalities and the way that we see the world and the way we move through the world. And at the end of the day, you know, it's us, and that's how I want it to be. I want to be backpacking somewhere in the country with a kid strapped to my front.
Hey.
And Jonathan beside me and one strapped to his back. You know what I'm saying?
Face that.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
So.
Man, it's so good to hear. It's like everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
How do you find what's your happy place? Like set the tone, like what do you do? What do you eat? What do you like what's the thing that automatically just
music, prayer, good conversation over a glass of wine or champagne or something.
Cheers.
Cheers. That part. Feeling free. I think we take a lot of ideas on as we grow that may not necessarily be true. And I think that when I know that it's me and God and I have a peace about where I am, that is when I am the happiest and the fullest and the freest. And it can show up in different ways, but when I'm there, I'm able to just really enjoy myself and be present. But if we're like talking about food, it's gonna be some oxtails or a great cheeseburger.
What? From a chick from LA, from Cali, talk about
what?
oxtails?
But see, that's the thing. I grew up in Hollywood and I work in Hollywood, but I'm not of Hollywood. So while I am like, yes, I want to stay in shape and take care of myself. I want to be 80 and be in great shape, you know, and be running around like in a real way with my kids and my grandkids. But that's because that's what I want for myself. And yes, what I do for a living influences that. But ultimately, God forbid, I don't want to be in front of the camera anymore. That would not change for me because that's what I want for myself. I want my body to take me everywhere.
That's you.
God wants me to go. But I love a good cheeseburger. I just do. And I love oxtails. And so I feel like we can't deprive ourselves. We got to have balance. And so, yeah.